Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Tanvi Taneja, coming up in the next 30 minutes. India is steadfast to be global hub of organic farming, says Prime Minister Modi at the South India Natural Farming Summit in Coimbatore. Adds, natural farming is the demand of the 21st century. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar inaugurates 2 new Indian consulates in Russia, hails Delhi-Moscow ties. Vladimir Zelensky due to meet Recep Tayyip Erdogan in Turkey to revive peace talks. Poland to close last remaining Russian consulate as Warsaw blames the sabotage of a rail line to Ukraine on Russia. And Donald Trump says visiting Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman knew nothing about journalist Jamal Khashoggi's killing, contradicting US intel. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the South India Natural Farming Summit 2025 in Coimbatore. South India Natural Farming Summit 2025 aims to promote sustainable, eco-friendly and chemical-free agricultural practices and to accelerate the shift towards natural and regenerative farming as a viable, climate-smart and economically sustainable model for India's agricultural future. During the program, the Prime Minister released the 21st installment of PM Kisan of over 18,000 crore rupees to support 9 crore farmers across the country.
नेचुरल खेती हमें क्लाइमेट चेंज, मौसम में हो रहे बदलाव का सामना करने में मदद करती है। ये हमारी मिट्टी की सेहत को स्वस्थ रख सकती है और इससे लोगों को नुकसान करने वाले केमिकल से भी बचाया जा सकता है। आज का ये आयोजन इसी दिशा में एक बहुत बड़ी भूमिका निभाने जा रहा है। नेचुरल फार्मिंग के साथ हम अगर श्री अन्न, मिलेट्स की पैदावार जोड़ते हैं तो ये भी धरती मां की रक्षा में अहम भूमिका निभाते हैं।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited an exhibition on the occasion and interacted with the farmers of Tamil Nadu, pushing them for natural farming. The summit also focuses on creating market linkages for farmer-producer organizations and rural entrepreneurs while showcasing innovations in organic inputs, agro-processing, eco-friendly packaging and indigenous technologies. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar inaugurated the Consulate General of India in Yekaterinburg and Kazan, Russia, marking a significant step in strengthening bilateral relations between India and Russia. The inauguration ceremony was attended by Russia's Deputy Foreign Minister Andrei Rudenko, Indian Ambassador to Russia Vinay Kumar, and senior representatives from Sverdlovsk and Tatarstan regions. Speaking at the event, Dr. Jaishankar emphasized that the opening of these consulates will further strengthen technological, scientific, economic and trade collaboration between New Delhi and Moscow.
The opening of the consulate will give impetus to enable and to strengthen the technological, scientific, economic and trade collaboration between Indian and Russian industries. Kazan is one of the most visited cities in Russia. I've had the pleasure of going there myself, after Moscow and St. Petersburg, and with good reason. The region is a multicultural and multi-ethnic hub and acts as a bridge between Russia and the rest of Asia. The consulate will help strengthen people-to-people ties by encouraging cross-cultural exchanges and high-tech participation. Kazan is well known for its oil production and refining, for fertilizers, automobiles, defense manufacturing, pharmaceuticals, and electrical equipment. I'm confident that with the opening of the 2 new consulates, there will be a further strengthening of India-Russia ties, and this will surely mark a new phase in our relationship.
Dr. Jaishankar also interacted with members of the Indian community and friends of India in Moscow. He expressed his appreciation for the warmth and support of the diaspora. Afghanistan's Minister of Industry and Commerce Nuruddin Azizi arrived in New Delhi on his 5-day official visit to India. The visit will focus on advancing bilateral trade and investment ties. He is expected to visit the India International Trade Fair 2025, besides meeting Indian officials, especially those related to trade and commerce. This marks one of the highest level visits from the Taliban government to India since their takeover of Kabul in August 2021. A total of 125 Indian nationals released from the scam centres in Mawadi in Myanmar were repatriated from Mysore in Thailand by a special flight operated by the Indian Air Force on Wednesday. With this, a total of 1,500 Indians were released from scam centres in Myanmar and have been repatriated through Thailand since March this year. As part of Government of India's efforts to secure repatriation of Indians entrapped in scam centres in Southeast Asia, the Embassy of India in Bangkok have advised Indian nationals to verify the credentials of foreign employers and check the antecedents of recruiting agents and companies before taking up a job overseas. The National Investigation Agency NIA on Wednesday arrested the brother and close aide of dreaded gangster Lawrence Bishnoi on his deportation from the US to India. Gangster Anmol Bishnoi was produced before Delhi's Patiala House Court, where he will face the law. His return marks a major breakthrough for central agencies. Absconding since 2022, US-based Anmol Bishnoi is the 19th accused to be arrested for his involvement in the terror syndicate led by his jailed brother Lawrence Bishnoi. Anmol was charge sheeted by the NIA in March 2023 after investigations. 2 dynamic Indian scientists are pushing the frontiers of genomic medicine. Dr. Souvik Maite and Dr. Debojyoti Chakrabarty from the CSIR IGIB have developed an advanced genome editing system, one that delivers far greater precision and efficiency than the conventional CRI-SPR tools. DD India's Tapas Bhattacharya spoke exclusively to the dynamic scientific duo.
Prime Minister has always been vocal about removing, getting rid of sickle cell anemia in the country. Your work, the pioneering work that your institute is doing, is expected to, leapfrog India in that direction. Please share your work and the IGBI's vision.
Intellectual properties that is there in other countries is very costly. So that was our ambition, because if we do not develop our indigenous system, the ultimate therapy which is going to be, say commercialized, it is not going to be cost effective. Towards that, we have, good success. At this moment, we are running a kind of academic clinical trial for 3 patients, whether it works for sickle cell anemia or not. If we are successful, it has 2 different angles. One, we are confident that it can work for other disease. And definitely we can take it forward, the sickle cell therapies, whatever we are developing here. And there, the role of institute like Serum Institute is going to be important.
It isn't going to be important because then you have to, mass produce it. So mention the fact that it is expensive. It's in the $1 million for a common man in India. That may not be, effective. How do you see this changes, and also whether this kind of gene therapy can be used in other, diseases to rectify, especially genetic diseases?
Yeah, that's right. So the cost of this therapy, there is only one approved therapy in the US, FDA approved therapy, which is very, very expensive. And unfortunately, the sickle cell disease affects the marginalized population, the tribals, the African Americans, the Africans. So not really the rich people, to be very honest. So therefore, we had to think about that if we want to make a therapy for them, we can just simply publish papers and leave it at that. But if we have to make it available to them, we need partners who can actually scale up and reduce the cost. And that's why we tied up today with Serum Institute, not just for sickle cell anemia, but the fact that to take CRISPR therapies to the masses. And as you said, that it is not just for sickle cell anemia. Wherever there is a gene whose defect causes a disease and CRISPR can correct it, potentially these can actually have life-saving therapies for these diseases as well.
How do you see the gene editing, gene therapy work in India, let's say in the next a decade or so?
It is a platform technology. It can be applied for any genetic disease. They can take technology from know-how from us and can start working on different kind of disease. In that way, we can solve many problem with a short time.
The problem of gene editing is not really the technology. The problem of gene editing is equity, that whether the poorest of the poor can get it or not. And that's what the motivation of today's partnership is.
These two gentlemen have opened a new vista for all those people who have been talking about gene editing and making India free from all those genetic diseases. With camera person Ramakant, this is Tapush Bhattacharya for DD India from Delhi.
Cityscape Global 2025 opened in Saudi Arabia's Riyadh this week with $43 billion worth of deals in real estate announced during the first 2 days. The event, held under the theme The Future of Urban Living, was inaugurated by Majid bin Abdullah Al Hogel, Minister of Municipalities and Housing, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, who emphasized Saudi Arabia's real estate growth and rising global prominence in urban development. The event organizer, Rachel Sturges, Senior Vice President at Tahaluf, emphasized the exhibition's expanding reach. She noted that approximately 47 to 48% of exhibitors come from international markets. India has emerged as a key priority market, particularly for property technology and sustainability companies.
Increase in our international participation from exhibitors, and India is a key priority market for us. In particular, we've seen an increase in the prop tech and sustainability companies coming over from India, and it's something that, as an event, we have around 48% of our exhibitors are international. And as they're feeding into that ecosystem, there's a huge demand for tech advancement, for new tech innovation in this sector as it's growing so fast in Saudi Arabia. India's participation is really important to us for that.
We now take a look at other stories making news around the world. A portrait by Austrian artist Gustav Klimt called Portrait of Elizabeth Lederer was sold for $236.4 million in New York on Tuesday, becoming the second most expensive artwork ever sold at the auction. The Allen Institute in Seattle launched the Brain Knowledge Platform, an AI tool that lets scientists search and compare brain data sets easily, built on 2 decades of 3D mouse brain atlases mapping genes, cell types, and neural connections to advanced brain research. You're with us on DD India Live, still to come on this show. Brazilian diplomats work day and night with negotiators in the hope of reaching an initial consensus on COP30 climate deal. China suspends seafood imports from Japan following diplomatic row over Prime Minister Takaichi's comments on Taiwan.
This week on Defence Dynamics, we unpack the post-Operation Sindoor shift in India's internal security dynamics. We spotlight DRDO's new AI-powered underwater system transforming the mine warfare. We examine the Army's latest upgrade in war missiles for T-90 fleet and track Indonesia's interest in BrahMos, boosting India's export reach. Catch the complete breakdown this Wednesday at 8 PM IST only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Tanvi Taneja. Brazilian diplomats are now working day and night with negotiators in the hope of reaching an initial consensus by Wednesday on the COP30 climate deal in the presence of President Lula da Silva. The host nation is expected to land a deal on some of the most contentious issues, including a halt on rising greenhouse gas emissions, cutting fossil fuel use, and coping up with the damage caused by warming temperatures. And Lars Holter is with Deutsche Welle, joins me from Berlin on the German presence in COP30. Lars, what exactly is on the agenda in Belém and what is Germany bringing to the table?
Yes, thanks for having me. Well, the main focus this time around is climate finance, particularly establishing a new, larger finance goal to support developing countries in their climate actions and adaptation efforts. And Germany has now promised an additional 60 million euros towards that fund. Germany is so far the biggest donor of such funds, and that is on top of $6 billion that the country has generally spent on financing the fight against climate change. And then, of course, a focus of the summit is how to cut down on fossil fuels. That's often, almost every year, that's a topic, getting out of oil, gas and coal and speeding up the development of renewable energies, of course. Now, Germany is all aboard on that, has obviously been going in that direction for years and has long established solar and wind as major energy sources at home. However, development of renewables isn't fast enough even here. And sadly, just last week, the German government even decided to build 8 new gas power plants to generate the energy that the country here so desperately needs to get the economy going again. But like I said, despite all that, the commitment to fight climate change in general is very clear.
Okay, and how optimistic should we be that the climate conference will lead to real change this time?
Well, that's the multi-billion-dollar question, of course. In the past, more promises have been made than kept. This is obviously supposed to change now. And as we're here heading into these last days of the conference, people in attendance are saying that in the past, roadmaps were drawn up, and now it's finally about making the real changes planned. But one member of the German delegation, he is actually a representative of Greenpeace Germany, he's also told us that, there are 1,600 oil, gas and coal lobbyists at the meeting. They are representing an industry making approximately $3 billion a day. That's very powerful companies with very little interest in changing anything. Other than that, they are representatives of poor countries, of countries already threatened by climate change. And there's the industrialized nations trying to undo the damage they've done over decades without risking their economic future. And then, of course, there's the United States with no one at the conference at all. So there's a lot of factors playing into the negotiations over the next 2 or so days. So will we see any form of an agreement, and will we really see decisive action? It's doubtful, of course, but there's always hope, including with the German delegation.
Okay, thank you very much, Lars, for all those details. Yes, 2 more days to see if a deal is reached in COP30. Thank you very much for all those details. Lars Holter reporting from DW, Berlin. President Donald Trump announced on Tuesday the formal designation of Saudi Arabia as a major non-NATO ally during a White House gala dinner with Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman.
I'm pleased to announce that we are taking our military cooperation to even greater heights by formally designating Saudi Arabia as a major non-NATO ally, which is something that is very important to them. And I'm just telling you now for the first time because I wanted to keep a little secret for tonight.
The US and Saudi Arabia signed agreements on arms sales, including F-35 fighter jets and a civil nuclear energy cooperation. Trump said that the US would sell F-35 stealth fighter jets to Saudi Arabia.
We're going to have a deal. They're going to purchase F-35s. They're buying them from Lockheed, and It's a great plane. We make, by the way, the best military equipment. You saw that during the Iran little skirmish. We make the best planes, the best missiles. We make the best defensive missiles. We make the best military equipment in the world. Nice.
Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman pledged to increase Saudi investment in the United States to $1 trillion. Further, Donald Trump defended Saudi Crown Prince, stating he knew nothing about the killing of journalist Jamal Khashoggi, contradicting U.S. intelligence assessments. The Crown Prince denied ordering the operation, but acknowledged responsibility as the kingdom's de facto ruler then. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky reached Turkey as part of an attempt to revive talks with Russia on how to end the conflict in Ukraine. Zelensky will hold talks in Turkey on Wednesday and meet U.S. Army officials in Kiev on Thursday in a new drive to revive peace negotiations with Russia. Kremlin, however, said that Russia would not be sending anyone to Turkey. It was not immediately clear if there would be U.S. participation in the talks. Poland will respond in the coming days to a railway explosion it blames on two Ukrainians allegedly working with Russia to spread chaos. Polish Foreign Minister Radoslaw Sikorski said on Wednesday, calling the attack an act of state terrorism. He added that he would withdraw consent for Russia's last consulate in Gdansk in northern Poland. The blast on the Warsaw-Lublin line, a key route to the Ukrainian border, comes amid a wave of sabotage and cyber attacks linked to the war in Ukraine, with the accused collaborators reportedly fleeing to Belarus.
As the Minister of Foreign Affairs, I've already taken the decision, which will be officially communicated to the Russian authorities today or tomorrow, to close down their last consulate in Poland, in Gdańsk. We will also put further restrictions on the movements of Russian diplomats in Poland, but this will not be the end.
Meanwhile, Russia also said that it will reduce Poland's diplomatic and consular presence in the country in response to Warsaw's closure of Russia's consulate general in Gdansk. Britain is on alert as Defence Minister John Healey says the UK is ready with military options if the Russian spy ship Yantar directed lasers at RAF pilots now near Scotland pose any threat. He called the act deeply dangerous and confirmed the vessel is currently on the edge of British waters north of Scotland. Healey said this is the first such incident and has updated Navy rules to allow closer monitoring of Yantar's activities. And on to some sporting trivia now. The tiny Caribbean nation of Curacao has become the smallest country ever to qualify for the World Cup after a 0-0 draw against Jamaica in Kingston. Curacao, with a population of just 156,000 people, fought off a furious second-half onslaught to grab the draw they needed to clinch their ticket to the Football World Cup in the United States, Canada and Mexico next year. The result capped a fairy tale qualification campaign for the team known as the Blue Wave, who finished top of Group B with 12 points from 6 games. Curacao are by far the smallest nation ever to qualify for the Football World Cup, which is being expanded to 48 teams next year for the first time. The previous smallest country to qualify for the tournament was Iceland in 2018, with a population of around 350,000. So that's all for this edition of DD India Live. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. Connect with us on our different social media handles at DD India Live. And you can also download our DD India mobile app for quick news and updates on the go. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja from all of us here in New Delhi. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.